opposing lantern. But like that lantern gets a little risky if the opponent's running Venusaur, for example.
And it's starting to make it difficult to include that Noctowl in team compositions. Hedging to find places to fit in ways to actually rattle off wins against that lantern. So I expect this game will again revolve around Economical's lantern and how it's utilized and countered.
Yeah, but it's interesting though, because if he opts to not bring that Noctowl, that gives some more leeway for the Venom Vespiquen to do some damage.
Quick mic check. How's the background noise on this?
It seems fine now.
Okay, great.
You sound great.
Yeah, so AJ, what would you expect to see in terms of like trios from each of these two players?
Well, I kind of agree with what you guys are saying in that because there's no like really hard counter to Lantern on Viper Strike's team, we should maybe expect a Lantern from Economical. That Alolan Golem is very tempting because of that Vespiquen and Venomoth on the opposing team and somewhat even matchup against his Lantern. And it's not horrible against Vigoroth since it's able to at least force some shields here and there.
Okay,
It's
so
just
maybe
that it has to
maybe
work.
that
Yeah,
so maybe an Alolan Golem Fortress core from him then.
it's possible just because of you know we are kind of expecting that Venusaur, and it's going to be interesting.
Well, and especially because Economical's not running like a Noctowl.
Right.
It means the Fortress has pretty good matchups against Economical's team.
Yeah.
Um,
And Noctowl has good matchups against 3 out of the 6. And it's not awful against Vigoroth. It just doesn't want to be leading against it. And it is
Right,
running
but-
Psychic.
right, which is a big help for that Alolan Golem and Lantern matchups.
Yeah.
But I don't know, running Noctowl can just be a little risky though, because you never know if your opponent's going to run double electric.
Right.
The thing that's unfortunate is he doesn't not having any real even one hard counter to a lantern sort of turns off any potential sack swap lines. There's nothing you could lead that if a lantern was led into it would force the switch. I don't think.
Right.
So if Economical leads that lantern, I think it's going to put Viper in a kind of an awkward place. But it'll be really interesting to see. Because again, I think this game is going to come down to how that lantern is used and whether or not you can find a way to beat it.
So whose screen are we watching right now? Are we watching Economical?
We're watching,
or...
yeah, we're watching Economical, I believe.
Okay, great.
But
Looks
yeah,
like it's about to start.
But then again, I think on the flip side, I think also how Viper Strike takes advantage of his Fortress, I think is another thing to watch out for in these 3 games.
So vote in the chat, or just say what you expect from the lead from any of these players. I think it's going to be really even. Both of them are really talented, and they've shown some good skills throughout the tournament.
We have a tornado warning in effect.
Nice. Take shelter now.
Take shelter, apparently. That seems like something.
Yeah, tornado. Was it tornado watch or tornado warning?
Warning.
There's a warning, so
geez.
there is a tornado on the ground somewhere in the vicinity. I want to find out if there's a tornado imminently headed towards the TAP Esports Center.
Dang, I guess that tornado followed
Isn't it
Valor
in a
Ash all
basement
the way
anyway?
from Texas.
They are in a
tornadoes
basement, right?
I think so, yeah. Aren't tornadoes much more common in Texas than in Philadelphia?
Yeah, not very much. We are seeing some battery play here, 10%. it might become an issue if that lantern comes out to discharge the battery. Those water guns really chonk away at that battery percentage, especially if it's an older phone model. We could see a replay in the horizon. Do replays occur on a losing replay against the battery going out?
Yeah, so I don't know if you remember, but in that draft tournament we did, I had that battery thing pop up and caused me to not get full 3 rings on my charge move.
Yeah.
And so...
so that's why you won.
No, I lost because of that. We didn't have a replay.
Oh, you didn't?
And so actually, as a result, I reached out to Sylph Arena just because I was curious. Obviously, like, that draft tournament wasn't ranked, so it wasn't a big deal. But I reached out to Sylph of, like, if this happened in an official tournament, what would be the result? And they said that you wouldn't have a replay for a battery notification like that. Because that's not like a technical difficulty. It's not lag or anything. That's kind of on the responsibility of the player.
Perhaps we wouldn't even see a replay if someone called you in the middle of the match because you didn't put Do Not Disturb on.
That one's a little more up in the air because, yes, there is Do Not Disturb, but apparently some phone models don't have option.
Right.
But I'm not sure on that one. But from what I heard from Sylph, they said if you had a battery warning, that would not be grounds for a replay.
I suppose if you had a pager in one hand, and then you just, you determine that you're about to lose, and you just page your buddy to call you during the match while using an older phone, maybe you could restart that match. Of course, I'm kidding you guys.
All right, so we had a Vigoroth, Lantern, and Fortress as a team comp for Echo.
We're seeing Joey versus Valarash here.
So Vigoroth mirror matchup. They're both going to be trying to farm each other a little bit, and hopefully one of them goes for the piggyback. Once 2 body slams are charged up, it doesn't really matter. So they're both going to spam the body slams and just burn each other's shields.
So are we watching Valarash right now?
We are.
We're seeing Joey's perspective in this battle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So they both go to the body slam, and they each get a body slam out. I'm expecting Mason to shield this, and he sure does. Goes for a second body slam, expecting.
And it looks like he got a piggyback in there because he's ahead on energy. So I think as a result of that piggyback, Joey opts to not shield because he knows if he burns the shield, he's going to lose that lead matchup anyways. So he elects to not shield instead. So that he can conserve the shield and then farm up some energy with Lantern. Because Lantern's so tanky that it can, tank 1 or 2 body slams.
Right. So Lantern's able to take out Vigoroth, and he's got a lot of energy, expecting Venusaur to come out. Thunderbolt comes out. Or Hydro Pump. So Hydro Pump's going to do a little bit more damage. Still has stab, but better damage per energy. And Venusaur is not really well at taking like high damage per energy hits. Fortress comes out and it's a pretty even matchup against a Alolan Graveler. Earthquake is just going to nuke it, so we're expecting.
Right, and having that shield advantage lets him easily get to that Earthquake.
Yeah, so he's able to take out that Graveler, and that's going to be GG in favor for Joey because Earthquake's going to take out that Graveler and finish up that Venusaur. Even if he gets out that Frenzy Plant, it's not going to matter. Fortress can take it pretty easily.
He's going to need to land another one of those, and that does not look like it's going to happen here.
Well, even if he gets it off, there's still a Lantern in the back. Even if he had got off a Frenzy Plant, Venusaur would have been at like minimal HP to the point that Lantern could have probably just killed it with Water Gun.
Right, so he brought in Vigoroth, Graveler, and Venusaur. So he's definitely attempting to capitalize on people bringing electric, I suppose, because he's got... Well, not really. Yeah, he's got Venusaur. I suppose if Joey brought out Venomoth, it would have been also a pretty good matchup for them. So it's interesting to see what they bring out for the second match. Do you guys use the building the team feature? Leave it blank for the recommended battle party. I haven't had recommended battle party since the game started.
Yeah, I fill it in. The only time I might not have recommended after a turn, or I might use recommended is right after like a cup is over. I sometimes delete all my battle parties, and then if I haven't made a new cup, then I might be stuck with the recommended. But otherwise, I definitely use those pre-built team features.
Yeah. So we got Joey brings in Vigoroth against Valorash's Venusaur. Favorable matchup for Valorash. Expecting a switch out at some point. He might farm in some energy. He might get a body slam out before he switches.
What were the other mons on his 3? Because depending on how they're structured,
Lantern and so he's got Fortress out, expecting immediate switch out from Venusaur. Sure enough, he goes for Vigoroth. Now Vigoroth does have a good matchup against Fortress, but if he lands an Earthquake...
He goes for the Earthquake.
Very bold. Very, very bold. I expect a shield anyway, and it does. So this is not a good situation for Joey to be in. Because that Earthquake, it was a bit of overkill, and even with Heavy Slam, we would expect a shield there.
Yeah, I think if he had opted to go for Heavy Slam and double Heavy Slammed, he would have won this match.
He might have,
As a result, because he had a shield advantage, and also Valorash was a bit slow on the switch.
Yeah.
But this is interesting, though, because now he has his Vigoroth in with a 2-0 shield advantage.
Yeah, but he still has Venusaur there, so, it's going to be a situation where he's going to want to farm up this Vigoroth a little bit, probably tank that Body Slam. Oh, he doesn't tank the Body Slam. He goes for the shield, and maybe goes for a Hydro Pump.
I think that was a misplay, maybe, unless he was scared of a Bulldoze.
Maybe.
But, yeah, I think he just kills off with a quick switch to Vigoroth to kill off the other Vigoroth.
Interesting. Goes for a little bit of energy. And he still has a shield, so he's at a shield advantage. I'm expecting Noctowl. There you go. Noctowl comes out. He's going to beat this Noctowl with his Vigoroth, but he's got Venusaur in the back with a high-energy Lantern, so it's going to be very, very close this match because Noctowl is going to force a shield.
Yeah, and that was a good play by Mason. Even though Noctowl loses to Vigoroth, you're better off matching the Noctowl against the Vigoroth as opposed to having it stuck against the Lantern in the back. So you're able to just kind of chunk some HP. Mason can chunk some HP, burn a shield.
Yeah. Okay, so he's able to get that Body Slam before the Venusaur comes out. And
this is going to be close now.
Very high HP. Yep. But just remember, he's going to have to use a Frenzy Plant to take out that Venusaur, that Vigoroth. And Lantern has a almost fully charged Thunderbolt, and it's not enough. Frenzy Plant comes out, and the win goes for Mason.
Yeah, so Mason was able to just, throughout the course of the battle, just barely farm enough energy that he was able to get.
Yeah.
He was able to wait just long enough in that Vigoroth matchup, and fire off the Frenzy Plant at the last second, which got him in range to get to that Frenzy Plant before the Lantern got to the Thunderbolt.
Bringing out Noctowl was genius. I mean, it's hard to think of those things in the heat of the moment, but that was the deciding factor in the match. Not bringing Lantern, or not bringing Venusaur, and instead bringing Noctowl to chip away at that Vigoroth that had a shield advantage.
Yeah, because if he had brought out Venusaur, then Vigoroth with the shield advantage would have mostly taken it out, and then he'd be stuck with Noctowl versus Lantern in the back, which is not a good situation. So yeah, just being aware of what mons you have and what mons your opponent has, and especially when it's down to 2 mons and 2 mons, and thinking of which matchup combinations give you the most favorable result.
Okay, did you guys get a chance to see what was locked in before they went out, or no?
No.
All right, Fortress against Venusaur. Okay, so it's a good matchup for Joey. Expect an immediate switch out, probably to Vigoroth. We'll see. Oh, he goes for the Noctowl. And I guess he's electing to farm a little bit, which is kind of surprising to me.
He just missed that switch, just barely.
Yeah, he really just missed it. So he's going for the Lantern most likely, expecting since he's got that Venusaur in the back, might as well use the Lantern now and take out Noctowl. There's not really much that Noctowl can do to damage Lantern, so I don't expect a shield here.
Shield advantage here, hitting those psychics isn't nothing, right?
It's not nothing, as you can see, but it's still, you'd rather just take that damage and not let Venusaur farm up too much. I probably would have waited even further, just so that Venusaur can farm even less energy from that matchup. Because at this point, you probably won't be able to get that Thunderbolt before Frenzy
You're gonna
Plant
get
comes
it
out
before
with extra energy. You think so? Oh, well, sure enough.
I mean, honestly, though, Mason may have even been waiting to let the Thunderbolt come out so that the Venusaur doesn't get farmed as much by Fortress.
That's true.
And now I think you can just take it down. You might even be able to take it down with Vine Whips there.
Yeah, but this Venusaur has a ton of energy, but Fortress is a really good matchup against Venusaur, so those Frenzy
I'm not
Plants
sure
are going
why
to chip
he's
away.
waiting, though, because he's letting Mason reset his switch time.
If anything, he can run out the switch clock with these Frenzy Plants potentially and get that Venusaur out of there.
Oh wow, he was able to get 2 out. But he did tap on Heavy Slam before he switches, so... Oh, I guess not. So he goes for extra charge there. I mean, if he goes for another Earthquake, that's going to be so bold. So he goes for Heavy Slam. He's going to elect for 2 Heavy Slams, but this is really tough because Vigoroth has 2 shields there. He goes for 2 Heavy Slams.
And I would expect a second shield. Oh, he doesn't shield.
I guess he knows that he probably has Vigoroth in the back with 1 shield, and he's pretty much forced to shield at some point. Maybe not this move, but yeah, see, 2 body slams in a row. That's rough. But at least this Vigoroth can get out some energy before this 3rd body slam comes out. This is not, I guess it's not a horrible, but it's definitely not good. Oh yeah, see, there you go. That's Venusaur is going to be able to take out this Vigoroth since it has a shield.
Well, it's just going to be a race to the charge move now.
It is.
I'm not sure what the...
It's really rough, but that Venusaur did have some energy, so we expect the Frenzy.
Is that a scenario where if he had not fired that body slam, he might have got there?
Maybe. That's a good point.
Extra Vine Whip you get there could have been the difference.
Yeah, that's a good point. It takes a lot of discipline to do that.
Yeah, I think you're right, where I think if he hadn't done a body slam, then he would have gotten an extra counter. And like how low the HP on Venusaur was, I think an extra counter of damage might have done the trick.
It certainly wasn't a sure thing, but ultimately I think it's possible he didn't know if he had enough energy to get that second body slam. He may have but that is a scenario where I think that would have come down very, very close if he had opted not for that body slam.
All right, so that's something should be coming on.
Yeah, and that's something we've talked about, where if you're late game and your opponent has a shield left, that the optimal play is you either have to be able to get off 2 charge moves, or you're better off using none. Because if you can only get off 1 charge move and shield, then they're just going to shield that. And that's basically wasting a turn where you could have gotten in an extra fast move, which is going to do more damage than a shielded charge move.
All right, so what are we watching now?
I am not sure, to be honest.
This is a Quartz final matchup, I believe.
Quartz against who?
Duma 85.
Oh, nice. So we're still going to be able to watch the Echo match?
Yeah, looks like It looks like that match, there's no result on Silph GG yet, so I'm assuming it hasn't been played and that they were waiting for us to do Valarash and Quartz's matches first. And interestingly, Quartz, it looks like, never TM'd his Fortress from Rainbow Cup. So he's not running Heavy Slam, which in my opinion is a mistake, because Heavy Slam hits the majority of this cup for neutral damage and comes out much faster. And like in that situation, for example, if he had been able to shield bait there with a Heavy Slam as opposed to a Rock Tomb, I think he might have been able to beat Lantern to that second charge move.
Yeah, this is kind of rough. He double shields. At least he didn't shield an Earthquake there, but even then he's going to get that Thunderbolt out before the Rock Tomb coats. And so now shield's down. He's got a switch advantage. This is not looking so great for Quartz at this point. So no matter what comes out, he's just going to be able to bring the counter. And if he's got a Alolan, oh, I guess he doesn't have any Alolan rocks there, so that's good. But yeah, Fortress there. Even going for the Power Gem isn't going to do awesome. So barring some like really, really weird picks in the back, we'll see what Noctowl does. Noctowl against Vigoroth. At this point, Sky Attack comes out, but the Body Slam comes out first. Noctowl's going to be able to tank it, and at least Vigoroth doesn't have shields, so I'm not really sure why he's waiting that long. He was
sure why he piggybacked
there. Yeah.
I think he was trying to piggyback, but he could have piggybacked on the Body Slam.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's able to take out the Vigoroth with Sky Attacks. And looks like he should be able to take this match now.
The upside was that
barely.
It looked terrible. There's another Fortress with a rock move.
Right, but that Fortress could be running
Scissor.
That Fortress could be running Heavy Slam Rock Tomb, which I think is definitely worth some consideration. But I think in this cup, the move you definitely want is Heavy Slam.
There's an argument about it because Rock Tomb can take out Bug Flyers a lot better. But in many cases, it's kind of overkill. So Heavy Slam is better for baits. And without Earthquake, you don't really have much to really truly threaten the electric types, especially Lantern.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just one of those cases.
Well, and the other thing is like, yes, Rock Tomb will like nuke the Bug Flyers, but that's more of like a late game option versus like mid game or early game when there's shields in play. Like they're gonna shield, and so you're better off firing off say 3 Heavy Slams and they shield 1 and the other 2 kill, as opposed to try to go for like double Rock Tomb or something.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I've been running I've been running Rock Tomb Heavy Slam just out of laziness. I don't know whether I'm even going to run Fortress at all, so it seems to me that spending a TM, one of my precious few TMs, Fortress doesn't seem worth it at the moment. There's times where I miss Earthquake though, and there's times where I'm really glad I had Rock Tomb.
Right, so now it looks like all the matches besides the Economical Viper Strike match have been concluded.
Very nice. So everybody's
just
gathering
finals
around.
Now.
It's a lot of hype around this match.
And yeah, so decent showing from it looks like Valarash, Joey VOV, and Quartz all finished 4-2. And then Choostemaster finished 3-3, and House Stark dropped to 2-4. So not the best. Probably not the result he was hoping for. I'd like to talk to him later. My guess is that I just my gut feeling is that the Sceptile was part of the problem.
He took a risk with Sceptile. There's some situations where it would have been really, really nice. Like if there had been more Alolan Raichus and stuff like that, then maybe. But yeah, I'm not convinced about that Sceptile pick either.
Just because it loses to Venusaur, generally speaking, and it doesn't have that poison subtyping, so it's taking neutral from counter from Vigoroth.
Right.
And it's just kind of glassy, so even the stuff it's supposed to beat, it's kind of taking a lot of damage or burning shields.
So we are watching Economical's team. He's going for Lantern, Graveler, and Vigoroth in the back.
This is what we talked about with that Lantern lead.
If he has that Venusaur lead, it's going to be really rough for him to recover. And he goes for Fortress instead. Now, I don't recall what moves that Fortress is running, but he is getting a switch ready to go. So he's opting to not switch and hopefully go for that Thunderbolt. And we'll see whether or not he goes for that Earthquake against him. This is one of those weird matchups where it could go really either way, and it really hinges on whether Fortress can get in an Earthquake or not. So we'll see. This is a high-risk play to not shield, and he goes for the Heavy Slam, and he shield baits. It's a really nice play on his part. He insta-switches to Vigoroth, and we'll see.
Economical has assessed the same thing we have, which is that Lantern is pretty essential to this matchup.
Yeah.
So getting it out of this fight where it could potentially lose is maybe in his best interest.
So he lured out that Heracross. He goes for the Body Slam. Heracross doesn't take those Body Slams kindly, so he's going to force that last shield of the match. So this is not the worst situation for him to be in. He forced those 2 shields on Heracross. And Heracross has a lot of energy, so just depending on what he brings out, it's going to be interesting to see how he handles this.
I think he's almost forced to bring out the Lantern here. I don't think you want to be running a Alolan... Oh, interesting. He runs a Alolan Golem in.
Yeah, I guess his logic is he just burns that last shield with Graveler and takes out what's left of the Heracross. Even though he's going to be low on, lowish on HP, he's still going to have a lot of charge left up on a no shields Fortress in this case. So he can go for the Rock Blast, and he still has Lantern in the back. So it's going to be really close. Because Noctowl comes out. Oh, never mind. Yeah, he's got a Graveler and Lantern to deal with this Noctowl. This is going to be GG for Economical for sure. Yeah, there's no chance that Viper comes out of this with a win, no matter what that moveset Noctowl has. That was a very smart play, very crafty on those switches.
Yeah, I think swapping that Vigoroth to lure out the Heracross ended up being a big deal because that took out the Heracross, which kind of cleared the way for that double electric in the back.
I wonder if anybody's going to go catch that Giraffaric. Seems very tempting.
With no grass on Viper Strike's team too, the double electric line looks pretty good. There's not a lot that deals with both the Lantern and the Alolan Graveler effectively.
Yeah, I would expect to see Viper Strike bring in either the Vigoroth and or the Lantern as a response to that double electric line.
I was surprised he didn't bring in the Lantern, given how generally negative his matchups are. At least with the Lantern, you offer that sort of counter trade, where if you can get the Lanterns matched up against each other, Lantern is extremely important to his lineup, where Viper can throw his away easily on that mirror.
Right, and the fact he didn't bring Vigoroth either, when Vigoroth helps deal with that double electric core so well.
Could even imagine seeing
so a lot of
both
active
the counter
thinking
users
going here. He's tossing and turning. What is he gonna? What do you guys think? What is Viper Strike gonna bring against Economical this time around? If you think you know, post it in the chat. I think it could be anything, really. I mean, these players, once you get to this level, it could get very, very...
I think he might. I think Viper Strike might be a little more cautious of running Noctowl now that he's seen that double electric line.
We're seeing some love for Lantern. What else? What else do you guys think Viper Strike's going to bring as a lead against Economical? Post in the chat if you think you know. We'll give you props on stream. Brownie points.
Lantern lead from Viper Strike seems like it could be good as long as Economical doesn't lead Venusaur.
He's maybe going for the double electric again. Could go either way.
It looks like he's going to run it back.
Lantern, Graveler, and Vigoroth there.
Right, and that's a line that is easy to run against a no grass team. Whereas if the other if the other person's running Venusaur, that completely shuts down that line.
So I think he just doesn't want to lose his Lantern in a mirror. So he's maybe going to try to go for that Thunderbolt and then switch out immediately. So he goes for the Thunderbolt, he shields, and he gets another Thunderbolt, so they're pretty evenly matched. He is debating whether or not to switch out. I suppose he wants to have more energy before he does so, just to put his Lantern in a slightly favorable position. If he switches just in time, he could maybe tank it from that Venusaur, but at this point, they're pretty evenly matched. He's going for another Thunderbolt. I suppose he's hedging his win. Is he able to get both shields off? And he sure is. He goes for Vigoroth, and Vigoroth is able to farm that Lantern quite a bit. Oh, he doesn't farm. He goes for the Body Slam, hoping to burn that last shield. And he does. Okay, so this is very interesting.
I'm not sure what a shielded Lantern...
Yeah, that was so close. So close on Lantern. I mean, he's forced to burn that shield.
Yeah, I guess that's why he shielded the Lantern, because he knew he could force a shield in return.
Yeah. So this is a Vigoroth with a lot of energy, but a lot of his HP has been chunked away from those water guns against a Noctowl. But he does have 2 electric types in the back, so I'm not so sure that he's concerned about Noctowl specifically. This is the worst matchup amongst his team. He's barely able to get that Body Slam out against that Noctowl and pretty much finish it off before that last wing attack finishes his Vigoroth. So
I would expect him to bring Graveler in here.
You think so?
Hey, he's got some energy. He's got a move still. He got a Thunderbolt still on the.
That's true. Yeah, this is the play here.
The Lantern, so.
Yeah, so now he's got 2 mons there with a lot of energy. He goes for a Fortress. Yeah, I don't see him gonna win because if he gets the Earthquake out, Lantern still finishes it up with that charge move. So yeah, that's GG. There's no way that
at this point Lantern can just kill with a water gun.
It can, yeah.
Or it's not necessary.
Yeah. All right, excellent play by Economical. He's very, very cautious with his switches. You can tell he's actively thinking, bringing up those menus, considering what his plays are, and there's a lot going on in the background. Very well-deserved win.
Yeah, and I think in the end, the lack of grass on Viper Strike's team is what decided this. Because it freed up Economical to run that double electric line both times, and double electric with Vigoroth too, where that's not a line he would be running against a team with Venusaur, because Venusaur can shut down that whole trio.
And I think that may have been a misjudge a little bit on his opponent's part too, is that line was so abusive against his team that he probably needed to hedge and run something like double counter, or maybe bench the Noctowl and try and take some of the electrical advantage away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. I think a trio of like Vigoroth, Lantern, and Fortress would have stacked up better against that double electric arm.
So should we see if we can get a few minutes with the champ and ask him a few questions about his team and
Yeah.
maybe a few others, and then we can raid Sylph Arena. Maybe if Quartz can come on, and there's a lot of excitement you guys can see on camera. You know, the tournament's finally over, and you know, a lot of really good contestants. Economical going undefeated in a tournament like this is very, very challenging. There's always some luck involved, but you don't get to the top with luck alone ever. So very, very well played on all the players here. We got a thumbs up. And I think the real MVP here is Quartz for driving all the way from DC just to make this happen. Very successful stream. I think I had a lot of fun. You guys still on?
Still here?
Yeah, I'm still here. Are you?
Yep.
We're streaming within a stream. Oh man, could someone get Quartz and we could ask a couple questions from them before we raid Sylph? Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. There's just too much noise going on. Maybe we can get them in at a later date and ask them to, you know, critique their team, see what they thought. I'd really like to get the champ in, and then House Stark, and then some other in Mason, and see what they decided on their strategies. My screen's a little blurry, so do you guys see what he's typing out or no?
I can't tell. It sounds like we might be ending stream to go raid the Sylph worlds.
Okay, we'll just plan this for a future date. That'll be fine. I think this has been a pretty resounding success. It's been a lot of fun.
Do you want Echo on stream? We can get him on stream.
Sounds like he's about to talk.
I'm trying to get on.
Hello.
Hi. How loud is the background noise?
It's not terrible.
Okay, in that case, I'll have Echo sit down and have you guys chat for a minute.
Okay, great.
All right. Yeah, go. What's up?
Hey, congrats, champ.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about your team. What made you narrow down those 6?
So I was never a fan of knockout or pitch out in the beginning. So I chose not to run and flying. I picked up Midturn yesterday. It's OP.
Mm-hmm.
What else did I run? Bigger off's OP.
Uh-huh.
I ran like Venomoth, Poison Fang, Silverwind.
Mm-hmm.
And I brought in Grappler.
Sure. Yeah, man, I'm a big fan of your lineup because I've been feeling the same thing about those normal flyers. I think they're kind of a trap. because they lose against Vigoroth. I mean, they beat so much other stuff, but they're also really easily countered. So very exciting plays. What was your most common 3 that you used throughout the tournament?
What teams of 3 did you find yourself?
Okay, what's the logic there?
So I had Lantern, I have always as my starter, and Lantern's one of the that you can start with. And if I get a bad hand like Inksaur or this type, like bigger off, really I didn't go against users, otherwise it would have been bad.
Absolutely. Tristan, you had a question? Tristan, did you have a question?
Oh, I was just gonna ask like what teams of 3 he liked using mostly.
Okay.
Could you repeat that again?
No,
sorry,
it was the
AJ. I
same
think
question.
I might have his mic too low, the volume too low on stream earlier. So if you can repeat some of the questions.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No, I was just saying, like, I think at a future date, I'd really like to, sit down and we could have a stream where you go more in depth on your team comp and ask you more questions on whether you would drop any. But before you do go, which one would you drop if you were to drop any of your 6 and have to do a tournament tomorrow? Which one would you drop?
So I actually never used Vesper Queen once in any of my
Okay.
matches. I think it's one of like the overrated picks, like a bait pick for the first week. And I think a lot of people are going to start dropping it later on as the meta develops.
How so?
I think it loses too many to like the Rock Boys. It doesn't do good against Lantern. It loses the flying, and I think a lot of people say it's a hard counter to Vigoroth, but I still think Vigoroth still can do damage to the Queen.
Awesome. Well, man, congrats again.
Thank you.
You played really well, and it showed, and it was really entertaining to watch you.
Thank you very much.
You played your cards right.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too.
How many people are watching?
What do you think about that non-knockout team, Tristan?
Safe drive, dude.
I think
Yeah, man.
that'd be interesting.
Really?
We can discuss it also later.
Sure.
We're gonna end the stream now and raid the Sylph Worlds.
Yes. So I'm gonna have the raid count down right now, but you guys can start closing it out.
Okay, awesome. Tristan, you go ahead.
Go ahead with what? Sorry,
You were closing out, and then Quartz jumped in.
Oh, I was just saying, yeah, we'll kind of debrief more on this at a later stream, I think, and we're gonna go over and raid the Sylph Worlds now. So
Awesome.
just thanks to everyone for tuning in. Sorry for that internet dropping, and we'll catch you all later.
Peace. I think we're off.
Yeah.